Hello, and welcome back to Learn the Bible in a Year for April 3rd, 2026. Today is World Marbles Day. Yes, marbles, those small little glass balls that causes paranoia in every parent because they believe that their infant is going to eat one and then choke to death. So it makes you wonder, if marbles are such a choking hazard for children, then why do we keep making them? Well, that's because if we didn't make marbles, we couldn't celebrate World Marbles Day, obviously. Today we're going to be covering the establishment of the cities of refuge, a glimpse of Jesus in his full glory, and a cry for help from King David. So let's jump right in. All right, diving into our Old Testament reading, yesterday we saw the borders of the promised land being drawn up, and today God is setting aside specific cities for the Levites, including some very special places called cities of refuge. So God tells Moses to give the Levites 48 cities scattered throughout the land. Since the Levites aren't getting a massive chunk of territory like the other tribes, they get these specific towns so they can live among the people and teach them God's ways. Out of these 48 cities, 6 are designated as cities of refuge. These were essentially safe havens. If somebody accidentally caused the death of another person, say an axe flew overhead off the handle when chopping wood, they could flee to one of these cities. Now, a question you might have here is, why do they need to run away if what they did was an accident, for example? Well, in that culture, there was this concept called Avenger of Blood. That sounds a little weird, but here's what it means. The Hebrew word here is Goel Hadam. A Goel is like a kinsman, yeah, like a redeemer, a close relative whose job was to protect the family's honor and property. In the case of a death, the Goel was expected to avenge their relative. So, the city of refuge provided a place where the person who caused the accidental death could go to get a fair trial. If it was truly an accident, they could live safely in that city. But they had to stay there until the death of the high priest. Only then were they free to go home. It's a fascinating picture of how the death of a high priest essentially covers the debt of those who fled. We also get a quick wrap up regarding the daughters of Zelophehad. You might remember them from a few days ago. They were the ones who boldly asked for their father's inheritance since he had no sons. And God says yes, but today the leaders of their tribe bring up a valid concern. If these women marry outside of their tribe, the land goes with them, messing up their tribal borders. So the ruling is updated. They can marry whoever they want as long as they are within their own tribe. It's a practical solution to keep the land where it belongs. All right, now jumping into the New Testament, last time in Luke, Jesus fed the 5,000 and asked his disciples who they thought he was. Today, he takes an inner circle up a mountain for an experience, well, they'll certainly never forget. So Jesus takes Peter, James, and John up a high mountain to pray. While he is praying, something incredible happens. His face changes, his clothes become dazzling white. This is what we call the transfiguration. The Greek word used here for this transformation is metamorpho, which is where we get the word metamorphosis from. It's not just like an outward shine that happened to Jesus, it's an outward manifestation of his inward divine reality. For a brief moment, the veil of his humanity is pulled back, and the disciples get to see his majestic glory as the Son of God. And then suddenly, Moses and Elijah appear and start talking with Jesus about his upcoming departure, which of course is his death and resurrection in Jerusalem. When Peter sees all this, he suggests that he should build some tents or temporary shelters for them. Now, there's actually a specific reason why Peter is saying this, and I go over that in much more detail when I do a deep dive in Luke chapter 9. So you can look up the deep dive in Luke chapter 9 if you're curious about that. So when they come down the mountain, reality starts to hit hard. A man begs Jesus to heal his demon possessed son because the disciples could not do it. Jesus steps in and rebukes the demon and heals the boy. Now, right after this massive display of power and glory, what are the disciples doing? Well, they're actually arguing about which one of them is the greatest. It's almost a comical scene here. Jesus brings a little child over and tells them that the true greatness he's looking for is his kingdom, and his kingdom will look like welcoming one of the least of these, meaning one of these little children. Then, as they are heading towards Jerusalem, a Samaritan village refuses to welcome them. James and John, clearly feeling a bit too confident, ask if they should call down fire from heaven to destroy the village. And Jesus rebukes them and tells them that he didn't come to destroy lives, but to save them. And it's a stark reminder here that Jesus' mission is driven by selflessness and sacrificial love, not by ego or vengeance. Alrighty, and our reading today in Psalms is Psalms 40, verses 9 through 17, and it goes something like this. I proclaim righteousness in the great assembly. Behold, I do not seal my lips, as you, O Lord, do know. I have not covered up your righteousness in my heart. I've declared your faithfulness and salvation. I have not concealed your loving devotion and faithfulness from the great assembly. O Lord, do not withhold your mercy from me. Your loving devotion and faithfulness will always guard me. For evil without number surrounds me. My sins have overtaken me, so I cannot see. They are more than the hairs of my head, and my heart has failed within me. Be pleased, O Lord, to deliver me. Hurry, O Lord, to help me. May those who seek my life be ashamed and confounded. May those who wish me harm be repelled and humiliated. May those who say to me, Aha, be appalled at their own shame. May all who seek you rejoice and be glad in you. May those who love your salvation always say, The Lord be magnified. But I am poor and needy. May the Lord think of me. You are the helper and deliverer, O my God. Do not delay. All right, just a quick word from our sponsors this morning. This show has been brought to you by Good Leads. Now, full disclosure here, Good Leads is a company that I own, but Good Leads is a company that provides outbound leads to medium-sized B2C businesses. Good Leads is dedicated to helping businesses maximize business revenue while decreasing marketing costs. To find out more, click the link in the show notes to see if your business qualifies. And this show is also brought to you by Covenant Security Equipment, which is a Christian-owned company that sells everything home and business security. Safety windows, doors, walls, safes, you name it. To find out more, head over to covenantsecurityequipment.com. Alrighty, what was your main takeaway from today's reading? I think my biggest takeaway was just this idea of the transfiguration. I mean, I have no idea what that would have looked like, but what a privilege it would have been for James and John and Peter. I mean, they're just going on a nice hike, with their rabbi going up this little mountain here. And then all of a sudden, he completely transforms before them into his more holy configuration, I guess, if you want to call it that way. Um, Gosh, what I would give to be able to have seen that, and it's just crazy to me how quickly their minds move past this wonderful sight that they've seen, the holiness of Jesus, to squabbling about, which one of the disciples is greater. It's a reminder to me how short our attention spans are. I can give myself a little bit of grace when I have, these mountaintop Jesus Christ experiences, but then find myself, kind of in the valley a little bit a short time later. Well, gosh, that's pretty relatable because the disciples just did the exact same thing here. So I can give myself a little bit of grace when I do the same thing. And Jesus, I just pray that you help me in those circumstances. What was your main takeaway from today's reading? I'd be curious to know. Throw that down in a comment section wherever it is that you are listening to this podcast. Okie dokie. Well, that is the podcast for today. And I will see all of you cool cats again here tomorrow.